Okay, so now let me open SQL Server Management Studio, and the database which we are using is let me use any database. That's okay. So I'm going to use mycheck. So new query, mycheck2 database I'm going to use, and inside this, if you see tables, we don't have any tables. So I'm going to create a table customer, or as we already discussed, I'm going to create a table employee, and I'm going to add here emp id integer and emp name varchar20. Now if I'm going to create table salary, and I'm going to create emp id integer and salary, salary or amount. So let me give amount and integer. So this amount is for salary. So as in the previous class, every time when we add a new record into the employee table, we want to add a record in the salary table for that employee ID with the salary, with the amount of salary is fixed, and let's assume that $5,000 is a fixed salary. So in the previous class we also discussed on with we added a role here, and EMP role. I think Frida asked a question like every employee may not get the same salary, right? So for that question we added a role here, and based on the role, when the new employee joins, we are going to add the salary there. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a trigger. What the trigger will do is every time when you insert a new record into this employee table, that trigger will be fired, and that will insert a record into salary table. So I think we discussed already, so I'm not going to explain this. Let's see how we can write the trigger. So we are going to use mycheck2 database. So now let me quickly open this PPT, and let me show this insert trigger. So now let me minimize this. I'm going to just for syntax purpose I'm going to see this, and let me open this SQL server, and let me minimize this. I don't want this object explorer. So what I need now, I'm going to write a trigger for, so create trigger salary insert trigger on employee after, so after inserting, so after insert as begin. So what you need now, you need to insert the value to so now what we need, insert into, I think we can straight away write it, so insert into salary, and how we write it, anyone remember from which table we need to get? What is the virtual table? What is the name of the virtual table? Please ping me in the chat window. Yeah, Frida has answered. The virtual table is inserted. So what is that we wrote here? Insert into salary, and we gave the name salary insert trigger. That's fine. So insert into salary values, or insert into salary. Even just a second. If I want, I can get like this. So I can declare temporary variable, declare @ empid integer, and then I can actually put a semicolon and then declare @amount. Amount is fixed, we already know that. So what we did, insert into salary, select, and just a second here, yeah, select @empid is equal to what is there in the employee table. We have here empid. So select empid from inserted. That's it. So this inserted will have the employee ID. So insert into salary. So what is that I want to add? Values I want to add employee ID, so at the rate empid, comma, and I want to add amount which is fixed $5,000. Okay, so that's it. So we are done. So see now what I'm trying to do here. We are writing a trigger, salary insert trigger, on employee table. After inserting a record into employee table, we need to I need to insert a record in the salary table with $5,000. So every time when new employee is added to that, we are going to insert a record into salary. So let's see how it works, and then I'll come back to this. Let me execute this. Let me create this trigger. So the object employee does not exist, or okay. So I think we need to create the tables. So let me create the table employee, and let me create the table salary, and let me go back to this query, and let me execute this. Okay, so we are done with creating the trigger. Now see what happens now. So if I see records here, select star from employee and select star from salary, so we may not see any values as of now. Now if I insert a record, insert into employee values, if I write here 1 comma save Megnath, so automatically you don't need to insert anything, when I fire this record, insert record, automatically a record will be inserted to salary as well, because I have written a trigger on employee table. When I insert a record, automatically this employee ID will be taken from this inserted table. Inserted is a virtual table which will get the currently inserted employee ID. So see now what happens when I execute this. See what happens. So let me execute this. You are seeing one row affected and one row affected. So now if I see here, select star from employee and select star from salary, and if I execute this, you can see that respect to every time, so employee ID 1, amount 5,000 has been added. Okay, now every time when you insert again, say for example I'm adding second record, I'm giving Rajesh, and again when I execute this, automatically one record will be added to salary automatically. See now, so that is the use of triggers. So triggers are something like when you do some operation, there are three types of triggers: insert trigger, update trigger, and delete trigger. So when you do some operation, so the trigger whichever we wrote now is actually an insert trigger. So on employee table, after inserting a
Uh,
yeah,
can I have a question?
yeah,
What if the salary cannot be same, right? So if we want to insert the salary and every person has a different salary, so
yeah,
how can we
yeah.
trigger that?
In that case, we may not use a trigger. So depend. So basically, first itself you have to decide uh, when you need to use trigger. So for now, I have a
So
requirement
it
like
has to be
this.
a constant value, right?
Not only constant, I think you missed the previous class, right?
No, I did not.
Yeah, in that we discussed with the role, right? Did you did
Yeah, I
yeah. So based
okay.
on role, if you want different salary, we have seen that. I think one of the student asked why the employee salary is constant. So let me tell one common scenario where we use trigger. Okay. So basically, we may not use trigger for inserting on employee table, but we use the trigger for deleting on employee. Say for example, I want to delete an employee has resigned from the company. I want to delete that record from employee table. So do you want that record to be there in salary table if the employee has resigned? So we don't want to have that employee on the salary table as well, because the employee is already resigned. So we need to move that data to from employee table we'll move to alumni table. So there will be a separate table called alumni where we will move that record, and we'll delete from employee table. So when we delete from employee table, since we don't need to process salary for him, so we need to delete from employee table as well, from salary table as well. So in that case we are going to use delete trigger. Okay, so now is it do you think it makes sense to have on deleting? How many of you thinks that adding a trigger for deleting will make sense instead of inserting? because inserting, as a couple of you have pointed out, the salary may not be constant for all the employees based on their experience, based on the skills, based on the department which they are working. They might have different salaries, but for deleting, it's common irrespective of whether the person belongs to which department or whatever salary it is. When the person resigns, leaves the company, the last working day or the next day of the last working day, we have to delete from salary table, I mean employee table. That automatically deletes from salary table as well. Okay. Now, so let's try to understand, let's try to see how do we need to write a delete trigger. So delete trigger is also very much same. So create trigger, salary, delete trigger. So let me put here delete, and on employee, after you know that you have to do delete, and for delete we have the virtual table is deleted. That's it. So what you need to do here, declare employee ID, select employee ID from deleted, and you don't need to insert from salary. So what you need to do here, you need to write delete from salary where emp id is equal to @emp id. So let me remove this. This is one of the example where we use a trigger. So the previous example, if some of you thinks that that's not a proper example, but I just wanted to tell you how to use a delete insert trigger. So now let me create this trigger after delete. So let me execute this, and now see what happens. So we have two employees here in the employee and salary. Say for example Rajesh has resigned from the company and the last working day is also over, and we don't want to have this record in the employee table, and as well as we don't want in salary table. So now what happens when I do delete from employee where uh, where emp id is equal to 2. So let me execute this. So now if I see I just deleted from employee table, so if I execute this, I don't have Rajesh record employee ID 2 in salary table as well. Okay. So if you want to test it, so how do you want to test it? Say for example, imagine you want a developer has told that he has written a delete trigger and he wants you to test whether the trigger is working fine or not. So how do you test it? Can any one of you answer this? How do you test it normally, whether the delete trigger is working fine or not? Yeah. So anyone wants to answer? A straightforward question. So how do you test whether a delete trigger is working or not? Uh, Now I got answer from Frida and Mohammed. Okay, yeah, they answered correctly. So this code is I just explained you, like delete trigger will look like this, and developer will tell to the testers like, okay, I have written the delete trigger, can you please verify whether that is working fine or not. In that case, I'm asking question, how you can ensure that this delete trigger is working fine. That was the question. So so basically, let me explain. So basically, what is the purpose of this delete trigger? So whenever a record is deleted from employee table, you need to delete that in the in the salary table as well. So how we can test it is, you can insert a record. Say for example, insert into employee values. You can insert 2 comma some record Sharath, and you execute this. Anyway, because of this insert trigger, a record has been added to both the tables. Now, how do you verify whether delete trigger is working fine or not? You just delete it from employee, and if the respective record is getting deleted from salary, that means your delete trigger is working fine. Okay, so is it making sense, everyone? Yeah. So now see here, if I say for example by mistake, if this person uh, uh, has has put here instead of salary table, let's assume that um, there is a mistake. He added, let me create one more table, salary one table, and let me execute this. And here by mistake this developer has added a delete from salary 1 instead of salary. So mistakes can happen, right? So in that case, let me alter this and let me execute this. In this case the trigger will not work now. So for example, if you see here, if I execute this now, if I do a delete, see now, delete star from employee where emp id is equal to 2. So if I want to delete it now, if I delete it, employee record will be deleted, but it will not delete from salary, because the developer has by mistake given, instead of salary he has given salary 1 table. So if I execute this now, see what happens. Okay, sorry, delete from. See now what happens if I execute this. Only from employee table it's getting deleted. It's not getting deleted from salary table. So what you can do now, you can inform the developer that, come on, you have written this, the delete trigger is not working fine because it's not deleting from salary table. And what is the use of having salary for 2 if there is no record in employee table? So now that delete trigger is not working fine. So now is it making sense how to test it? Fire an insert query, add some record, and verify that both the tables are having the records, and then fire a delete query in one table in the table on which you have trigger, and just verify that whether that record have been deleted from other table as well. Okay. And if there is, I got a question here, if there is any foreign key relationship. Yes, in case if there is any foreign key relationship, then you need to delete first from salary table, and then you need to delete from employee table. So in that case you don't need a trigger. Automatically it will throw an error if you try to delete from employee table. Okay, so trigger is normally used when you don't have a relation, but when you want to delete the record. Okay, so try it, Mohammed, try to create a foreign key table, foreign key reference, and see whether the trigger works or not, and then just tell me if that is working. Okay, yeah. So now we are going to write some script to test it. So now let's see how we can test it. So first we will test insert script, whether that is working fine or not. So basically, if I want to test whether insert script is working fine or not, let me explain again. So now question to all of you, how do we test whether insert script is working fine or not?
Insert the employee table, then it will affect salary and employee both, right?
Correct. And then you will verify whether that record is there in salary table, and you will confirm that it's working fine, right? Now,
Yep.
okay. So now if you see here, what is the use of this alter trigger is, imagine if you want to modify the trigger in future. So for the first time when you're doing, you will put like this, create trigger. Now if I execute this again, create trigger, it will throw me an error saying like there is already a salary delete trigger, so you cannot create a new trigger again. I got a question, what is the use of alter trigger? So every time when I cannot run create trigger because it's already created, so I cannot create again. In that case you need to alter. So once created, if you want to make any changes for this code, you have to write here alter. And now let me correct this delete trigger. So sorry. So let me correct this delete trigger, and now let me execute this. That is the use of alter. Now imagine for this employee table, employee table has relation with salary table. I want to insert record automatically to salary table, and we have department table. Department also has need to add this employee into the department table. Or say for example I have 5 tables. When you insert a record into employee table, automatically I want to insert the respective employee details to 5 tables. So if you are a tester, you every time when developer asks you to test, you need to insert a record into employee, and you need to verify that the you need to write a separate select query for salary, separate select query for department, separate select query for all the tables which are dependent on this, and ensure that whether the record is present that in that or not. So instead of manually doing it, we are going to see now how you can test it using some query. Okay, so let's try to understand how we are going to test this uh, insert query using automated script. So first, so please focus on the class. This is very important topic. We are going to write some script to test this insert trigger works or not. Okay, so now first thing is I want to delete a specific employee ID from both the tables. Okay, so what I'll do now, first step one, uh, delete empid2 in both the tables. Just even if it is there, if it is not there, employee id2, just if it is not there also, if you fire a delete query, nothing will happen. So what I'm doing here, delete from employee where delete from employee where empid is equal to 2, and delete from salary where empid equal to 2. So that means after these two comments are executed, there will not be a record for employee id2 in both the tables. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert into employee table. So insert into employee table, insert into employee values, I'm going to insert employee id2 comma Sharath. So basically, if your trigger is working fine after this employee table, how many rows should be there in employee table with employee id2 after this insert? Everyone please answer. After this insert, how many rows should be there in employee table with employee id2? With employee id2, how many rows should be there in employee table? In employee table, I deleted with employee id2. If already existing records are there, I deleted. So basically, after these two deletes, there will not be any records. Now I am adding one record to here, Sharath in employee table. So basically, after this insert, I should see one record in employee table with employee id2. If the trigger is working fine, how many records you need to see in salary table for this employee id2? Again, it's one record. So if the insert trigger is working fine, you have to see one record in salary table as well. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to see how many records are there. So declare @count integer, and I'm going to do select @count is equal to count star from salary where empid is equal to 2. So basically, if this count is, first I deleted employee id2 records. So even if it already there some records, I deleted employee id2. Then I'm inserting into employee table just to check whether the trigger is getting fired or not. Now I'm declaring count value here, and I'm getting the count value from salary where employee. So if my trigger is working fine, what should be this @count value? If my trigger is working fine, this @count value should be 1. Otherwise my trigger is not working fine. So what I need to write here, if @count is equal to 1, begin or print, it works. So alright, here insert trigger is working fine, and else begin. And so if it is count is not 1, print insert trigger is failing. Okay, so if imagine you have some 5 tables. So imagine you have 5 tables which depends on this employee insert. What you need to do, you need to delete from all the 5 tables. You need to write delete from salary, delete from all the 5 tables, and then you need to write here count. So you need to check count 1, count 2, count 3, all the values should be 1. Okay, so that's all. Now when you execute the script, you don't need to manually open the table, manually write this. So every time when the developer tells he made some change for the insert trigger, can you verify that's inserting in salary table, you just fire this, and you can see here insert trigger is working fine. Insert trigger is working fine. So this is what we call as automation script. You don't need to do it manually. Say for example, let's go back here, and now the developer by mistake, as we already discussed, he gave salary 1 here. So let me execute this. Okay, this is delete trigger, right? So let's modify, let's have this delete properly. So let's modify this insert trigger. So where is this insert trigger? So if you want to modify the trigger, how do you need to do? Go to Object Explorer and refresh this database, and here inside this tables, inside this employee table, you will see something called trigger. So for this employee table you have 2 triggers, salary delete trigger and salary insert trigger. So let me change the functionality for insert trigger so that it will not work. So let me click on modify. The moment you modify, select modify, you will see here alter. So let me put here insert salary 1. Okay, by mistake the developer has mentioned here salary 1, and let me execute this. So let's go back here. So what should happen now when I execute this? Do you think what will be the count value now? Can everyone ping me what will be the count value now? When I insert into employee table, what will be my count value in salary table? In salary table, the count value will be 0 because my insert trigger is inserting in salary 1. So which message you will get? Insert trigger is working fine or insert trigger is failing? What do you get now? So it's failing because the count value is not 1. So let me execute this. So insert trigger is failing. So you guys understood? This is one simple example like how to write this automated code. How many of you understood this? Please ping me if it's clear. Please ping me in the chat window if it's clear, because this is very important. Very important to write. So this is called smart way of working. So there you can do the testing in 2 ways. Either you do it manually, or you write some scripts, keep it ready, and just execute it and tell the developer it's working fine. Okay. Now let's try to understand how we can test the delete trigger. Okay. Okay. So I think for those who didn't understand this, I will explain how to test the delete trigger. Okay. Now let's go back. How many of you understood? Can you please ping me? I got a message from Mohammed and Frida. How about others? Is this clear? Is this clear? Okay, Harina.
Nishna,
Yeah, go ahead.
the earlier one, inserting till the employee was okay, and when you when you inserted the data in employee with value 2, that is okay. But you said salary becomes salary becomes 0 counting. How did you did that? I'm not getting that part. Like you said that the 2 values you have deleted already in employee and salary.
Yeah.
Where employee ID is 2.
Yeah.
That way, you inserted 1 more record. So in that way, 2 records are gone, but 1 is new inserted. So there will be 1 record, right?
There will be 1 record in employee.
Yes, but for the salary, you said there will be zero record. I did not understand how, like, because you are not inserting the value in salary. That's why salary record will be zero.
Okay, okay. So let me explain again. Yeah. Okay. So now, yeah, I'll explain again, Bhavita. Yeah, I think many of you are asking to explain again because this is important. So let me explain again. So now, see, I want to test. The goal is I want to test whether employee insert trigger is working fine or not. So what is the purpose of insert trigger? If I add a record in employee table, it should insert the values on the dependent table. So based on our requirement, for my requirement, current requirement is when I insert a record in employee table, I want to insert a record in salary table. That's my requirement. Okay. Now to ensure that uh, uh, what I did now is I deleted records from employee table for employee ID2 and I deleted the records from salary table for employee ID2. So after this delete statements at this point for employee ID2 in both tables record count will be 0. Okay, so at this point after this delete in both the tables employee 2 for employee 2 in both the tables record count will be 0 because I deleted. Now I'm inserting this record employee 2 in employee table. So after this in employee table for EMP ID 2 you will see count as 1 because I just added here. Now if the trigger is working fine for on this employee insert, if the insert trigger is working fine on this employee table, after this insert how many records you should see in salary table? In salaries table, so if the trigger is working fine, or let me put here, if the insert trigger is working fine, so the count in salary table should be 1, not 2, should be 1. Even if I have already inserted employee 2, because I'm deleting from here. Why I'm deleting is I don't know how many records are there before. So yes, so
Can I ask a question?
yeah, go ahead.
So, you said there will be, after inserting, there will be only one record in salary table.
Right.
What about the employee ID 1 record?
Employee ID 1 record that will be there already. So for now we are only checking
So
about.
will it not be counted, like when we say select at the rate count is equal to count? So when we
Yeah,
write this message, so the count should be 2, right? Because it will count all the records, all the rows.
right. So we are checking only for employee ID 2. So we are writing where condition.
That I understood. Like you only, if it's counting only employee ID 2, then it will show only one record.
Yes.
But if you're saying that how many records will be in salary table,
Okay.
then it will be 2,
Okay.
right?
Okay. So it is
That's the confusion.
okay. I think I didn't mention here. So salary table with employee ID 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's only 1.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So with employee ID 2. Okay. So now we are only concerned about this employee ID 2 now. So first I deleted all the records from employee ID with employee ID 2, and then what I'm doing here, I'm inserting into employee table with value with 2 and Sharath. So ideally after this insert, if the insert trigger is working fine, so basically in employee table you should see employee ID 2 1 record, and in salary table also with employee ID 2 you should see 1 record. So what I'm doing here, I'm declaring a count variable and I'm checking from salary table with employee 2. So if the count is 1, that means my insert trigger is working fine. Otherwise if the count is 0, that means something went wrong, so insert trigger is getting failed. So basically the reason why we need this automated scripts is even in the current company which I'm working, so normally testers are very smart nowadays, like they have for everything they have this something like automated scripts. So whenever we tell them like, okay, I changed a trigger or I changed a stored procedure, can you please verify it? So they just execute the script and they will tell like, okay, it's working fine, or okay, it's failing. Okay. So let me give one classic example for this. Another example. How many of you is clear now? Okay.
Can you show me how to write the declare delete automated script?
Yeah. So yeah, I
It's
thought of
almost clear, like,
yeah,
yeah.
I thought of giving delete as assignment. How many of you think you can do that delete trigger as assignment? I showed you how to create the delete trigger. Can you guys, but for sure you have to send me. So before next class, I just showed you how to create this trigger. So I'll ping you guys, but just it's very simple. What you need to do, you need to delete a value from salary from employee table, and then you need to check for the count values. And both the tables should have how much count. I mean, after this deleting employee table, how much should be your count in salary table for that employee ID? If the delete trigger is working fine, it should be 0. That's it. So you need to check that count 0. So give it a try and see whether it's working fine or not. Okay. Can you guys do it? I'm going to show you another example of this insert trigger. Just for those who didn't understand, I'm going to give some another real-time example. So just try it anyway. I'll explain it for the next class. Initial 10 minutes I will explain how to do it for delete, but these are important. So how about my voice? Is it clear for everyone? Yeah. Okay. So okay, I'll do one thing. I will paste this insert and delete triggers for you. I think this is the second class, right? But still I'll just mail them to upload the recording. So normally we upload 3 recordings. I think other than previous class we have all the recordings, right? Can anyone confirm? Uh, only we don't have the previous class one. Okay. So yeah, even though it's 2 recordings, I will send them. Okay. So let me do one thing. Let me ping this for you. So create. So let me copy this. So I'm just pinging everyone. So please make a note of this. Please make a note of this insert trigger. And where is this delete trigger? So please make a note of this delete trigger. And for sure you have to send me the automated scripts for delete trigger. Okay. So let's take some real-time scenario where I have a table called customer. Okay, and I have here customer ID. So customer ID integer. I have cust name varchar 20, and I have balance account. So balance I have integer. So now normally in banks, right, how it happens is they will have a backup table. So every time when you insert a record into this customer table, they will have a backup table, so that in future or by mistake if this customer table got deleted or dropped, or for some reason if this customer table is not working, they will immediately modify that customer 1 table or customer 2 table. So what I need now is every time when I insert a new record into customer table, I have 2 backup tables. So here this is customer 1 and customer 2. So every time when I insert a record into customer table, I need to insert values into these 2 tables. That's the requirement which I have. So let me quickly write a insert trigger. So you understood the requirement? Every time when I insert a record into customer, just these 2 are backup tables. So I want to insert into customer 1 and customer 2 the same values what I insert into customer. So now let me create these 3 tables. So very quickly, if you want to write any insert trigger, So let me go back here, salary insert trigger. So let me copy this. You don't need to remember the syntax, but you need to know how to write the logic. So now I'm going to write customer insert trigger on which table? On customer table. And what are the three columns you have? You have cust ID, so declare @cust ID, and declare what is the other one? Cust name and balance. So now let me put here cust name varchar 20 and declare @balance, which is integer. So what I need now, I need to get these values from inserted. So select cust ID comma cust name is equal to, so take this as assignment as well. I'm going to explain this now, but still you have to write it, you have to send me this. So at the cust name comma I'm not going to ping this code for you. So @cust ID, cust name, and balance. Balance is equal to balance from inserted. So your inserted will have these three records. So I'm getting these three records. Now what I need to do, this trigger should insert into that customer 1 and customer 2 tables as well, because those are backup tables. So insert the records. So anyway, this will be taken care by developer, you don't need to worry. Insert the records into, but still it's good to know, into customer 1 and customer 2 tables. Okay, so what I need to do, right, insert into customer 1 values @cust ID, @cust name, @balance. That's it. And I'm going to write, imagine the developer has forgot to put from customer 2 backup table. So in that case, so for now, let me let me add in customer 2 table as well. Okay, see, now let me execute this. So invalid column cust ID. So what is the column name we gave? Customer ID. Okay, so customer ID, let me give here customer ID and customer ID. Let me execute this. Okay, here also I need to give customer ID. Okay, so let me execute this. Okay, I created the record. Now every time when I insert a record into customer, so obviously it needs to insert into both the tables as well. So if I don't have automated script, how do I test it? I have to write select query. So now let me do here insert into customer values. I need to write here 1 comma Megnath comma, let's say that balance I have $4,000. Okay, so I think I have added customer 2, right? So I have not added in customer 2. Okay, yeah. So this also can happen. See, now by mistake developer has put customer 1 twice instead of customer 2. So in that case, your trigger, you have to test it and you have to tell that the trigger is not working fine, right? So what I'll do here, I will do alter and let me put here customer 2. So let me make this change. Okay, so let's go back here. So now when I execute this, automatically you should notice that you need to write, if you don't know how to write automated scripts, you need to write select star from customer, and you need to write all the dependent tables. Okay, and you have to verify manually. So you have to put here 1, and you have to put here 2, and you have to verify where customer ID equal to 1. So you have to write this query and you have to verify in all the tables. So then you will execute this, and then you will see. So let me execute this, and I have to see all the records should be 1 1 1. So that means this trigger is working fine. Now how do you write a script here? So it's very straightforward, so I'm not going to explain much here. So let me go back to the script, and first thing what I need to do, delete from customer, where cust id equal to 2. Let's take for example cust id equal to 2. Okay, first I deleted from customer table, and I need to delete from the other two tables as well. Even if you don't need to worry whether you have the record or not, just to ensure that the customer id 2 has been deleted. So just to ensure that we are deleting. So now customer 1 and customer 2. So done. Now what you need uh, so let me remove these comments as well, previously added to, just to make you the things clear. So let me remove this. So now what I need, I will insert into customer table. And values, let me insert 1, let me insert 2 here, which I deleted. Say for example Sharath is the name, and balance $10,000. And now what you need, declare count 1. So I need two variables now. Declare count 1 integer, because I have two dependent tables. Declare @count2 integer. So now what I need, I'll get count 1 from customer 1, where customer ID equal to 2. So you can give 2 or 3, whatever you want you can give. It's not necessary that you always have to give customer ID 2. So it's up to you, because you are doing it in test environment. So you can play around whatever you want, but you need to ensure that the functionality is working fine. So I'm going to write here count 2, and then I'll write here customer 2. So now if count is 1, insert trigger is working fine for customer 1 table. Insert trigger is failing for customer 1 table. And then you will write again one more thing. So you will just copy this and paste it for insert trigger is working fine if this is for count 1 and this is for count 2. So just to tell in case for which table it's failing. So customer 2 and customer 2. That's it. So we are done with the automated script. So now if I execute the C now, Control A and execute this. So insert trigger is working fine for customer 1 table. It's working fine for customer 2 table. Okay. Now let me ask a question to all of you. Let me see how many of you will tell correctly. Now imagine by mistake, instead of customer 2, the developer has put here customer 1, both the places. Okay. So if I execute this now, in which tables the record insert trigger will fail, should fail now? It has to fail in customer 1 table or customer 2 table. As a tester, which table it's failing you will tell to the developer? It is, as a tester, in which table it's failing now? It's failing in both the tables. Because how many records you want to insert in customer 1 table? How many records you want to insert in customer 1 table, but how many records you're inserting now? So obviously, so now in which tables it's failing. So even though it's inserting customer 1 table, but you don't need to insert 2 records. Every time when you insert one record in customer table, you have to insert only one record in customer 1. You should not insert 2 records in customer 1. So for that reason, so let's execute this and see how many, what our let me modify this trigger with customer 1 both the places. And let's go back to our automated script. So where is our automated script we have? Let me go back to this. So where is it? Where is our automated script? Okay. So in this script, so what will be the count 1 value now with the updated trigger? What will be the count 1 value? Please ping me in the chat window. Please think before replying. What will be the count 1 value? I modified the trigger. I added count insert into customer 1 2 times. So when we delete from customer table, what will be the count 1 value now? It will be 2. I mean not now. I mean when we are done with this insert into customer. Okay, I think okay, now I'm just deleting this. Okay, now after I insert this into customer table, how many records you will see in customer 1? with the updated trigger. In the trigger which I updated, I have, if you see here, I have insert into customer one 2 times because the developer by mistake gave customer one both the places. By mistake the developer has given both the places customer one. So that's a mistake which developer has did, and you have to identify this as a tester. So this count one value after inserting into customer, the count one value will be 2 because the developer has done some mistake. He added 2 times customer one instead of putting customer 2. And how much value do you think this count 2 will have? This count 2 will have 0 because he has not inserted in customer 2 table. So obviously you should tell him that it's failing in both the times, both the places. So let me execute this script and see, insert trigger is failing for customer 1 table, insert trigger is failing for customer 2 table. So just you need to inform your developer that it's failing in both the tables. Both the tables are not having one record. So either it has 0 records or it has more than one record. So just execute this and tell the developer that this is not working fine. That's it. You don't need to spend time in insert query, and you don't need to write select star from select count star from customer 1 table and select star from customer 2 table, and like that you don't need to write all the queries. So keep this ready with you and just execute this. Nowadays even testers are doing it. They are writing the scripts and they have ready, so they don't want to invest so lot of time which they can automate. So is it clear how to write the scripts and how you can minimize you can make your life easy when you are doing database testing? Okay, so the assignment is you have to send me how you test a delete trigger. Okay, I already pinged you how to create a delete trigger. It's up to you. You have to send me what you have to send me, so you create your own tables, that's fine. So you have to send me create table script, your own table, any table, 2 tables. Deleting on one table should delete on other table. So you need to send me create tables, any 2 tables, okay, and create table script, tables, 2 tables, or it can be 3 tables, whatever. Your delete trigger can have any number of tables, and you need to send me the automated script which you use for testing. Okay, so that's the assignment for today. For sure, please send me. I just noted all those who attended.